Marvel dropped the first full trailer for Avengers Doomsday this week. Dr. Doom stopping Stormbreaker with two fingers, the original X-Men, Steve Rogers returning from wherever Steve Rogers goes when he's not being summoned for an Avengers trailer. All President accounted for, and every entertainment channel with a functioning internet connection had a reaction video uploaded approximately 7 minutes later. We're not doing that video. You do not need me to tell you the trailer contains a lot of characters. Y'all have eyes. And I'm certainly not going to compete with new rock stars to identify rune number 47 on Dr. Doom's left kneecap. Some people have sunlight to avoid. What we are covering is the final 30 seconds of the rollout that almost everyone ignored. A ticket promotion for something called Infinity Vision. Because once you follow that receipt, the trailer stops being only about Dr. Doom. It becomes a story about Disney losing access to the most valuable movie screens in North America and spending months building a replacement brand before anyone noticed. The trailer was the door. Infinity Vision is the real story. Hey everyone, Chris here, the Critical Nerd, and thanks to everyone coming back. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Stick around, because around here we keep expectations low, receipts high, and we try very hard not to let a successful trailer perform the intellectual duties of an entire business strategy. Because the Avengers Doomsday trailer unquestionably worked. First day numbers were enormous. The official upload quickly passed 36 million views, while reactions, breakdowns, and character theories flooded YouTube within hours. Marvel wanted this to feel like an event again, and it did. Dr. Doom looks like an actual physical threat. The X-Men, Fantastic Four, and multiple generations of Avengers are colliding. Steve Rogers is back as Captain America. Marvel has assembled half the actors currently receiving checks from Disney, plus several who apparently found an old contract underneath the couch. The trailer looked appropriately huge. After years of Marvel projects feeling less like one connected universe and more like several strangers accidentally using the same Disney Plus password, Doomsday finally looks like it may be moving towards something. But Marvel did not release this trailer merely to generate reactions. It released it to sell tickets. Not regular tickets, Infinity Vision tickets, nearly 5 months before the movie opens. And that is where the superhero trailer becomes a Hollywood business story. Here's the situation. Avengers Doomsday opens on December 18th. So does Dune Part 3. And while audiences may treat that as the next attempt to manufacture another Barbenheimer, the two studios are fighting over something far more valuable than a social media nickname. They're fighting over premium screens. Denis Villeneuve shot Dune Part 3 using IMAX film cameras, continuing a relationship with the format that helped make the first two films theatrical events. IMAX began selling tickets for the first 70mm screenings in April, more than 8 months before release, and officially markets the movie as Film for IMAX. Industry reporting says Dune Part 3 secured North America's roughly 400 IMAX screens for the first 3 weeks of its run. That means Avengers Doomsday is not currently scheduled to open in IMAX in North America. Not limited IMAX, not some IMAX after Thursday previews. Dune has the format during the most important opening stretch. For arguably Marvel's largest event film since Endgame, that is not a small inconvenience. IMAX is not merely a slightly larger rectangle with a logo above the door. It is a trusted consumer brand. Audiences recognize it. Filmmakers build entire campaigns around it. Studios use it to create scarcity and urgency. Theaters charge higher ticket prices for it. Marvel knows this better than almost anyone. Infinity War and Endgame were heavily associated with IMAX. Disney spent years teaching audiences that the largest Avengers movies were not merely films. They were events that belonged on the largest screens available. Then Disney placed Doomsday opposite Dune and discovered Denis Villeneuve had already reserved the good table. So Disney had 3 options. Move the movie, accept that Dune owned IMAX, or gather the premium screens it could still access, create one certification standard, place a recognizable Disney brand over them, and market that result as a destination of its own. Well, Disney, they chose option 3. Premium large format screens represent a relatively small share of the theatrical market, but they generate a much larger share of the revenue. Industry reporting based on ComScore data estimated that premium large format auditoriums accounted for approximately 9.1% of the 2024 domestic box office, roughly $600 million, even though premium screens represent only a fraction of the available theaters. IMAX alone generated a record $1.28 billion worldwide in 2025. That was a 40% increase over 2024 and the company's best global box office year ever. And now we have an even cleaner receipt from this week. The Odyssey generated $29.6 million domestically from IMAX screens during its opening weekend. That was almost 24% of its North American debut from just 444 screens. Worldwide, IMAX delivered $52 million, 20% of the movie's entire global opening weekend. That's one format, one movie, one weekend. $52 million. Now, that does not mean Doomsday would automatically have earned the same amount. Christopher Nolan and IMAX have a unique relationship. The Odyssey was the first feature shot entirely with IMAX film cameras. Audiences were specifically seeking out the format, and 70mm locations were producing extraordinary per-screen numbers. So this is not a one-to-one projection. It is a measurement of the opportunity Disney is surrendering. Premium screens create higher average ticket prices. They create urgency. They provide marketing value. And increasingly, they allow studios to convince audiences that a movie cannot simply be watched later on the same television where they watch Secret Invasion. Disney's not being locked out of every premium auditorium, but it has been locked out of the most recognizable premium brand during the opening window of its largest 2026 release. That is the size of the problem Infinity Vision is supposed to solve. So what did Disney do? Well, they built their own premium format. Well, sort of. Infinity Vision is not a new projector. It's not a new camera system. It's not a proprietary screen technology comparable to IMAX. Disney did not construct hundreds of futuristic auditoriums between CinemaCon and the Doomsday trailer. Infinity Vision is a certification for premium large format theaters that already exist. Disney officially announced it at CinemaCon on April 16th. To receive the certification, an auditorium must meet Disney standards involving large screens, laser projection, and premium audio. Disney says more than 75 domestic and 300 global premium auditoriums are already available within the program. The wider premium large format category includes offerings such as Cinemark XD, Regal RPX, and other exhibitor-operated premium screens. These are real premium auditoriums. They already offer upgraded screens, projection, and sound. Disney's not taking the smallest theater in the building, adding a purple sign and declaring that the folding chairs are now immersive. What Disney is doing is unifying fragmented premium screens beneath one recognizable consumer label. Instead of requiring moviegoers to understand every theater chain's proprietary format, Disney's message is simple. Look for the Infinity Vision logo. That is where Disney wants you to see the movie. The company is also providing participating theaters with marketing support in both online and in-theater branding. That makes Infinity Vision more than a technical checklist. It is a consumer recognition campaign, and Disney did not announce it on Monday as an emergency response to the trailer. This plan has been developing since April. Disney announced that the September release of Avengers Endgame would serve as Infinity Vision's first major showcase, followed by Doomsday in December. That is not a panicked company discovering an IMAX problem 3 days before opening weekend. That is a company that saw the scheduling collision coming and built a rollout plan around it. First announced the certification at CinemaCon, then established participating screens, then used Endgame as the test, then launched the full campaign with Doomsday. Infinity Vision may have been created because Disney lost access to IMAX, but the rollout itself is not improvised. That brings us to the Doomsday trailer. At the end of the trailer campaign, Disney directed customers toward Infinity Vision ticket sales through Fandango. The ticket page describes Infinity Vision as the way the movie is meant to be seen, emphasizing bigger, brighter, and more immersive screens. Disney also launched ticket promotions and merchandise bundles connected to the format. That turns the trailer into more than a preview. It becomes an advertisement for Disney's new premium screen brand. The spectacle gets the attention. Dr. Doom stopping Stormbreaker gets shared on social media. Steve Rogers gets the nostalgia. The X-Men get the reaction thumbnails. And then when the audience excitement is at its highest, Disney places the ticket link directly in front of them, nearly 5 months before the movie opens. And that is unusually early, but it makes sense when you understand what Disney needs Infinity Vision to accomplish. First, it converts trailer attention into purchases. A trailer view is interest. A ticket sale is commitment. Hollywood has repeatedly demonstrated a charming willingness to confuse those two measurements until opening weekend arrives carrying a calculator. Second, early sales give Disney and exhibitors real demand data. Which locations are selling? Which premium screens are moving tickets? Does the Infinity Vision label influence buying behavior? Are audiences choosing it deliberately or simply buying the most expensive available showing because the app placed it at the top? Third, it gives Disney time to teach audiences what Infinity Vision means. IMAX has decades of consumer recognition. Infinity Vision has had approximately 3 months and a press release. Disney cannot simply display the logo in December and assume normal moviegoers will know whether it's the theater format, a new Marvel series, or prescription eyewear sold by Thanos. That is why the Endgame release matters. I should say re-release. It functions as a soft launch. Disney can test the signage, the branding, ticketing, and customer response using a movie already associated with premium Marvel spectacle. Then it can adjust the campaign before Doomsday arrives. And fourth, selling tickets now allows Disney to frame Doomsday as a theatrical event before Dune begins dominating the premium format conversation. Dune already owns the established name. Disney must convince audiences that Infinity Vision is not merely the screen left over because IMAX was unavailable. It has to make the alternative feel like a deliberate first choice. That is the actual challenge. The basic framing from outlets covering Infinity Vision is accurate. Disney lost IMAX to Dune Part 3. Disney created a premium certification to play defense. Confirmed. No notes. But that is only the first layer of the story. Most coverage treats Infinity Vision as a temporary workaround for one scheduling conflict. Follow the receipts further, and it starts looking more structural. More than 75 domestic screens and 300 worldwide is not merely a single-week promotional stunt. That is the beginning of a network. A September test using Endgame, followed by a December launch using Doomsday, is not merely damage control. That's a rollout schedule. The in-theater signage, online branding, certification standards, and marketing support all remain useful after December 18th. Disney does not own these theaters, it does not own the underlying projection systems, and it does not control the network end-to-end in the way IMAX controls its proprietary technology and relationships. That distinction matters. Infinity Vision is not currently an equal replacement for IMAX. IMAX has decades of brand equity. It has a proprietary projection equipment. It has remastering systems. It has deep relationships with filmmakers. And it has audiences who specifically search for the IMAX name when buying tickets. Infinity Vision has a certification. Several hundred participating auditoriums and one of the world's largest entertainment companies promoting it. Those are not the same thing. But Disney does not have to reproduce IMAX overnight for Infinity Vision to matter. It only needs to create enough consumer awareness that losing an IMAX booking no longer leaves Disney without a unified premium campaign. That gives Disney leverage. The next time Disney and another studio want the same weekend, Disney can point audiences toward a certified alternative instead of allowing every theater chain to market its premium rooms separately. It can bundle those screens into one campaign. It can support them with Disney marketing. And it can tell exhibitors, even without IMAX, we can still sell a national premium experience. That does not mean Disney stops needing IMAX. Disney continues to release movies through IMAX, and there's no real reason it would voluntarily abandon a format capable of producing results like the Odysseys. But Infinity Vision could make Disney less dependent on IMAX during direct scheduling conflicts. That is the more important conclusion. The immediate story is Disney lost this round to Dune. The structural story is Disney's building a tool designed to make sure losing the next round hurts less. We will not know whether Infinity Vision works because Disney issued a press release. We will know because audiences either buy tickets or they do not. The September Endgame re-release is the first meaningful test. Does Disney report Infinity Vision grosses separately? Do certified auditoriums outperform comparable standard screens? Do customers recognize the name? Does the branding create enough perceived value to justify premium prices? And most importantly, do moviegoers actively choose Infinity Vision? Because certification means very little if audiences treat it as an ordinary PLF with a Disney sticker attached. IMAX is valuable because the audience recognizes the brand before it chooses the theater. Infinity Vision has to build that behavior. Endgame gives Disney a controlled experiment. It is a movie audiences already associate with spectacle. Its original release has a known historical performance. The release is not carrying the full financial burden of the new production. Disney can use it to measure whether the label itself creates demand, then Doomsday becomes the actual stress test in December. Not whether the movie can generate interest. The trailer has already answered that. The question is whether Disney can turn that interest into premium format revenue without the strongest premium format brand in the market. The Avengers Doomsday trailer worked. Marvel got exactly what it wanted. Dr. Doom looked dangerous. Steve Rogers returned, not as Captain America. The X-Men arrived. And millions of people immediately began examining individual frames like the trailer had been recovered from Area 51. But underneath the superhero spectacle was a premium screen advertisement. Disney announced Infinity Vision in April. It activated the Doomsday ticket campaign in July. It will test the concept using Endgame in September. And in December, it will learn whether a Disney certification can create enough consumer value to compete with an established premium brand. Marvel won the trailer cycle. Dune Part 3 won the IMAX reservation. Now Disney has to prove Infinity Vision is a destination rather than merely the auditorium available because somebody else already booked IMAX. Dr. Doom may be powerful enough to stop Stormbreaker with two fingers. Disney's harder job is convincing moviegoers that its newly certified screens can replace the experience they already recognize. That is the real battle happening on December the 18th. Let me know what you think. Would you deliberately choose an Infinity Vision showing for Avengers Doomsday? Or would you rather watch Dune Part 3 in IMAX and catch Doomsday on another screen? And does Infinity Vision sound like the beginning of a legitimate premium competitor? Or Disney placing an expensive Marvel branded stamp on Plan B? Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with somebody who spent the last 24 hours studying the Doomsday trailer like it was the Zapruder film. I'm Chris, the Critical Nerd. Keep your expectations low, your receipts high, and I will see you in the next one.